All right, everyone. So welcome back to RCH Builders. While we've been doing the roof, my guys have been working on a few other things. So I'll try and bring you up to speed on where we're at and what we're about to do next. So they've gotten most of the framing for the actual soffit around. I've marked a couple. I came down, I noticed they had these for where they're supposed to be. Right here at this point here, they're flush, and what they're supposed to be at is they're supposed to be about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. So you can see right there where it's kind of up above the actual rafter tail. They're supposed to be like that at the very tip. That's so that what we can do, because these eaves are so wide, we're going to run a 1x right about the center right there to give us another nail point. So they got to fix that and then finish adding that in around through there. So we're going to take that soffit that's right there, and we're going to tear it down to about this point here, and then we're going to just run it all this direction just to even it out. And finger just makes it go a little off. Also, we're putting can lights. That's what they wanted because of how big this soffit is. So we've got most of those in. Tyler is about to work on actually wiring them in. He placed them in there last night, and he's getting ready to start to run the wire through there, and then he'll just go back and wire them all. So that part is up to there. We've gotten all of the electrical completed. Other than that, the part on the inside is basically done. So go in here, take a look at this, got everything cleaned up. So what we did is we put a outlet under the center of every window. That's what the customer requested. We actually, by code, you only have to have one within 6 feet of wall space. The way that is measured, you can measure from any opening. So you got the door here, you can measure 6 feet of wall space down through there, and that's where you put the first one. And then you can measure 6 feet to a center point, and then 6 feet the other way. So after that first doorway, it actually becomes 12 feet in between. But the customer was, I was asking them, because just with it being this style of room, we decided that we were just going to go ahead and have it be under every window. Based off of those measurements, we technically only put in maybe 3 more outlets than would be required by code anyway. But we've got all the outlets in. We got all the insulation up and ready for the walls to be done. We put that little outlet box in there. It's a 4-gang. We'll hold like 4 receptacles. It's actually 2 duplex, which gives you 4 plugs. So we got that in. We also have all the lighting wired in here and everything insulated. So we got can lights in the center of these areas. We have some fan boxes. So there's going to be 2 fans, and then the cans. Everything's wired. Everything's insulated. The only thing that we have left is actually going to be in this little hallway right here, this little walkway. We've already got the cans in. The cans are wired, but we still need to hook up, put the insulation in, and make up these switch boxes here, that one right there, and that box over there. So I'm going to try and maybe hopefully do a video on that for y'all of a how-to for wiring 3-way switches with different options. So this is a 3-way switch here. Of course, just a regular receptacle. This here, we got a 3-gang and a 2-gang box. Now, in electrical, you can get a gangable box, and you can go as high as you want. A typical plastic box is going to come as large as a 4-gang from Home Depot. You can buy them bigger, but you got to buy them from a supply house. But in this case, you've got a the way I like to do them is if there's more than 3 switches in a box, people start getting confused as to which switch does which. It's just easy to do. So I like to just split them up. What we have here is this box is going to have 3 three-way switches, based off the way the homeowner wanted to do the lighting in here. And then this box is simply going to have 2 switches that control the fan and a switch and a light for a fan. So we'll come back to that in that other video, exactly how we're going to do all that. But we got it ready to where we can start running the tongue and groove for the ceiling. That's what we're going to be putting up. And we got a whole bunch of that. We'll be set up our table saw and our chop saw to do all that we got there. Get your friend Austin getting ready to set all that up. We'll decide exactly the best place to put those where we can run our material through it easily without being in the way of everything. We also got a scaffolding to be able to get up to the ceiling. And we're probably what I've decided is going to be the best way to make it look uniform through here, is to start at the top and work down in both directions. That way, whatever little rip piece is at the end will be down on the 2 walls. That way, because especially if everything is square and straight, there shouldn't be an issue. Because where it joins here and over here would be exactly the same. The issue that we have is that this is an old exterior existing wall, and it is not quite the same length. So by those 2 rip pieces being away from each other, that helps be able to separate them. So we're going to get set up and get started on all that, and doing the tongue and groove. All right, so we're actually much farther on this project than it is showing right now. Of course, because we got all this footage here. With all my other jobs and different things that I'm doing, I don't really have time to edit and put up 2 videos a week, or we'd probably be a lot closer to where we are. That also wouldn't give me any filler backup material for if we're at a job doing a bunch of work where we can't record. So at the same time that we were doing this job, we were doing 3 others for different customers who did not want us doing any recording at their locations. So this has given us some material for when we're at those jobs, those days. We still have something to be able to edit and put up. Another job that we are doing now, while we're finishing this project up, we're actually, well, as of yesterday, we're supposed to be done, other than maybe just a really small little punch list of stuff that the homeowner may decide they want adjusted. Other than that, we are done with it. But we are also working on one of his actual business where he does powder coating. I think I mentioned that before. All those brackets right there to the left of the screen, and now you can see them to the right for those beams. He powder coated all of those at his business, where we are running some actual pneumatic airlines for him. It is 2 really large warehouses, and we got 2. I think he has a 15 horsepower and a 19 horsepower air compressor that are designed to run continuously that we've been hooking up. But with it being a main business, not really geared towards home renovation or home work at all, haven't really tried recording any of that. Also never asked him if we could, mainly because of that. Doesn't really fit necessarily with this channel. Maybe someday we will add that to the channel, but I don't think it will really fit necessarily with what we're going for. So here we're having to figure out and install the board that goes down through the angles at the top. where the box that we put in for the ceiling fan. And this cut would make the first couple cuts with just a skill saw and a jigsaw, but then I had to use a sawzall to do the actual bevel. That bevel was about a 77-degree bevel, so you can't do that with a actual skill saw. They don't angle that much.
Set up, am I? Not bad.
It's just, you see it here, and that's way down there.
Yeah.
Like I say, that's gonna be way too visible later.
Not annoyed with you, myself. That one good. How much up does it need to go?
Level across it. You could.
Two different pine needles.
So now we're putting that board in. It's a lot easier to do with 2 people for sure instead of 1. I did most of the tongue and groove on the other section and was trying to let my guys do this one as much as possible, but he definitely needed help with getting this piece in without breaking it. And so basically just build a flat area at the top right there for the ceiling fan to mount to, and then of course had to start the tongue groove around it. And so for this section, Tyler and Austin are going to be doing the majority of it once I get them going with it pretty well. So now that the 2 sides are done, it's pretty easy for them to do. We are getting ready to start on a new project, and I'm not sure entirely when we might start putting footage of that up. We have gotten permission from the owners to be able to video it, and it is a large addition. I have mentioned it, I think, briefly in a few other videos. It will almost triple the size of the house that is there, and so we'll be starting on that soon. That one will take a little while, but we got extra footage from this one, so I don't know if might go back and forth with it just to kind of give some different views, or if I'll wait till this one is all finished before I start working with that footage. It'll also let me clean off my computer, which has all the footage from these. Alright, so at this point here, I am needing to transfer from one side of the beam to the other where the tongue and groove will line up as it comes across. So in the other 2 sections, it was easy to do because we could simply measure down from the LVLs that were used for the ridge pole. But in this case, because it's where all these triangles come in, we could not do that. So had to use a square and made just a really tiny pen mark in spots so that if they stained the beams, then it would not be visible, it would disappear. So transferred the line around, squared it off, and then running a chalk line down through the first section of the first triangle so that we could figure out exactly what the angle is for the outside edge of this triangle. And then once we got that, of course, it's pretty easy to just run all the way down through there with the pieces. We didn't get all of this, again, just not enough time to be able to do it. So right here I'm using that angle finder to figure out the angle, and then I'll take it over to the saw and you'll see how you use that angle finder along with a square just to be able to figure out what that bevel is so that you can repeat it, and then just be able to run it all the way down through there. So you want it to be real straight, so it makes it pretty easy to do that. As far as running it down through there, if you keep the bevel the same, if you change that angle, then it's going to be visible when you go to do the next section. So you're just going to use your angle finder, mark it on the board, and then you can use your square to read what the angle is, which you're going to read it the same way that it was shown in the video where we did the fireplace, and I showed you how to find the angles for that. Then after doing that, so your chop saw may be slightly off, and plus on top of that, with your angle, plus on top of that, when you read the angle from your square, you might read it ever so slightly. I mean, you're dealing with say a 19-degree bevel, but it may actually end up when you try and read it on there, you don't have little tiny angles. It might be 19 and 3/4, 19 and 1/4, or even 18 and 7, 18.75. So just trying to get that angle dead on with the saw, and then we can just repeat it over and over. And then once we know what it is, we can find that spot pretty easily. So we got the one triangle going. I'm getting the next one started. And then from there, we're going to go all the way around. I think we make it almost all the way down to the bottom of this before the camera runs out. And of course, we just had to keep going, but we do get footage of the final pieces. So we did the 2 triangles on that side right there, and then we went to the other side and made sure we lined that beam up and did the 2 triangles to that side, and then we did the final triangle that's in the middle last, so that we could make sure they all tied together and evenly. So the can lights, you've probably noticed that we would when we get to them, we might take them down, as you see Tyler doing right there. He's removing the can light. The reason for that is because when we measured them, they might be off from each other, even the minor, just a minute little bit, even if it's like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, even an 1/8. And what we would do is, when we got to the same board that goes all the way across on each section, we made sure that we moved the can light to the exact same spot on that board. So visually, it will look in line with each other. If you look down, when you have a seam, the closer a seam is to anything, the easier it is to be able to tell that something is not straight. So we copied the exact same cut on every one of those tongue and groove boards are where the can lights are, and then took the can light loose and adjusted it to make it fit exactly in the same spot. So when you look around the room, it all is exactly the same. So that's it all finished, and going to do just a little pan around view to where you can see it. Hopefully it doesn't make anybody feel seasick with those lines. I know it does kind of make the room feel like it's moving, but was trying to get a final shot. So hope y'all enjoyed watching. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.